Hello everyone, my name is Brett, and sometimes I wear a beret. And welcome to my Q&A, where you guys ask questions and I give you the answers. But before we get started with that, it is indeed the holiday season once again. You can tell because there's a tree next to me. But that means that, as every year he does, Clownie Nerf is doing a toy drive. It doesn't have to be Nerf, but he is doing something where you can donate toys and potentially win a new blaster from him and from others this year. It's kind of neat. It's just a good idea in general to donate if you can, because we always think about the newest blasters coming out, the newest parts and stuff. It's like, oh, there's so much stuff that I want. And we sometimes forget that there are people who can barely afford basic necessities, and therefore they don't even think about toys. If you do have the ability to donate to those less fortunate, please do. I'll be donating some stuff myself later this week. And yeah, go watch the video, help Clownie out, and you could even help yourself out if you need the incentive to win an Infinite or a special modded blaster from other people. So, with that being said, let's get into some questions that you guys asked. Aw3971, where did your Sometimes I Wear a Beret come from? I was doing videos with Wallcom, I think, and we both decided that that was a good idea after I think I did a thrifting video where it was the first time that I wasn't wearing a beret in a video back in 2017 when I started doing videos like that. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm not wearing a beret. And I was like, oh, interesting. Sometimes I do wear a beret. And I forget the full story. It's not that interesting. But point is, I think I came up with it with Wallcom. Tom Levings. Question, how big is the instruction wall background at this point, and when did you start it? I started it in the summer of 2017, and the size of it is like 6.5 feet by 6.5 feet. It's bigger than me. It is good for hiding the wall when I film. And there's a few new instructions every time. Bipedal Narwhal. If you were to write an intentionally bad WikiHow article for something Nerf related, what would you write about? Gosh, it's hard, because as soon as you start writing, like trying to be bad, you lose the magic, because it's like a bad movie where someone makes just something that's so bad that it's good. It almost feels like the same thing would happen here, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe if you made one on just like how to have a Nerf war, because the first one I ever covered was how to win a Nerf war, but how to have a Nerf war might be a little bit different. That could be fun. I have a lot of advice I could give for that. Charlie Fox, were you born with a beret on, or did you start wearing them later in life? If so, when and why? I was born with it, molded by it. I started wearing berets. I bought my first beret in 2013 because I wanted something for the games I attended in Nerf. And it wasn't really a big thing at the time. And then like last year, maybe late 2016, that just became my thing. So I just started wearing them for Nerf stuff. But yeah, I've had it for a while. The black one at least. Other ones recently. Mr. Goonch. Would you rather have Captain Xavier armed with a banana on your side, or Saxman armed with what else but his sax? I don't know why Captain Xavier has a banana. I don't know if he's skilled with that. I do know Saxman is very skilled with the Sax BZ, so I'd probably have to choose him. But if it was the case where Saxman did not have the Sax BZ, I might choose Captain Xavier. And also from Mr. Goonch, what in your opinion is better, electric springers or flywheel blasters? I would say that flywheel blasters are more efficient, I think. That's why you keep seeing them pop up. They're much easier to deal with. But electric springers are cooler. They're neat. The Stampede is cool. But I don't think it's as useful as like a regular flywheel blaster. Gargunkel, hey Brett, what sort of work do you do for a living? For a living, I am a mechanical engineer with an engineering consulting company. I do more HVAC work at this time though, so I don't like model stuff and on that engineering side of mechanical engineering, which you'd wish for a hobby like this where people are always making new 3D printed parts and testing hardware. Yeah, so unfortunately. But it maybe one day, you never know. Dr. Jex, what is the best technique for drinking the candies? For the drinking of candies? Find yourself a good cup. If it's the holiday season, a mug will work. Find your candy of choice. Oh, just pour that in there. Make sure it's nice and loud, and drink as desired. Small gulps, though. Only small gulps. I'm pretty cool. What do you put on your pizza? And for my Nerfy question, what's your favorite blaster from 2018? I like meat on my pizza. Mushrooms and spinach is also fine, if in that combination. Favorite blaster of 2018? Honestly, can't remember all of them off the top of my head. I didn't really buy many. I could say the Thunderhawk was the best blaster of 2018, easily the most practical. If the Rev Reaper came out that year too, this year, we're still in 2018, that was also okay. Favorite doesn't have to be good, right? I really didn't buy many of them, so that's the problem. Metalsaurus the White Raven, what's your favorite tank? Mine is T-32E1. I don't know many tanks. I know that the Panzer was a German tank in World War II and was known for being pretty good. That's all I know. I've played Call of Duty on my PS2. John Griffiths, when are you going to do your next Show Me the Mods video? In a month or so. The Show Me the Mods, Show Us the Mods is tricky to figure out because I've included everything I've gotten before with submissions, and it's been a lot. And then doing it with other folks has been good, and I like getting other people's contributions, but it's hard to then manage all of those. So, all things considered, I need to change it a little bit in the future because people are really attached when their blasters are being shown, it would seem. And then they start pestering you. Where's the video? Where's the video? Where's the video? It's like more than a WikiHow video. Like when you put out a WikiHow video and people are like, where's the Show Me the Mods? And I'm like, really? Oh my gosh, calm down. I'm going to have to be more selective on certain blasters that are used for said video and not choose everything for time reasons, just because it's a long endeavor. And if you submit a picture that's just terrible quality, there's no excuses anymore. So soon, but I have to work out some details. Fail Man, why are you so handsome? It's an online illusion. Luke is way more attractive. Foam Blast, how many tacos do you think you could eat in a sitting? 5 is pushing it. I have learned from experience. Maybe if I'm hungry I could do 5, but in general we'll say 4.5. That. Stuffed Minecrafter, how many Nerf blasters do you have, and have you ever successfully modded a Nerf blaster? Yes, I have successfully modded a Nerf blaster, unless you think that I've modded things and not been successful, in which case, that too. My total arsenal is probably between 250 and 300, if you believe it. I need to scale that down by like 50%, but it is pretty big. And not all of it is relevant, though. So, that's a to-do list for December. Trevor RS05, what is Saxman's favorite movie? And also from Trevor, this channel is so good I can't bear it. Ugh. If people didn't call me Beret sometimes, I wouldn't have totally gotten that joke, because you spell it like beret, but Beret. Ugh. I love when people say that. Saxman's favorite movie. Sax and the City. No, that's his favorite TV show. His favorite movie is Jurassic Park. Austin Nava, I ask where do you get your berets from? I get them from the internet. That's where they sell them. Orange, have you ever considered doing a Kronos shotgun? See Captain Xavier's channel. Yes, I am familiar with the Kronos shotgun. It is cool. I don't know if it's necessary for what I have, and I haven't modded my Kronos too much. Maybe. I feel like there's other things I could do if I wanted a rival blaster like that, though. Zero Blade, did you ever get anywhere with Foam Blast customer service T-Rex? And Simon Devanzo, did you ever get anywhere in your attempt to woo the Foam Blast T-Rex? I think you'd make a lovely couple. So personal. It's hard. Long distance is tough, but I think we're making it work. The holidays are hard to be apart from each other still, but I think we're all right. It's just, it's a little too personal to share all of that on a YouTube video. Hobo Bro 24, what was your first mod and what is your favorite mod? My first mod was a Scout from the Unity system, the red version, and my favorite might just be the Sax BZ because it's the most relevant mod I can think of at the moment. It was just very satisfying to see it all come together, and I like mods that I actually get to use at games and not have as just like props or pretty pieces. Nothing against people who do that, but I'm saying for me, I like to play with my mods. And I used the Sax BZ almost monthly when I made it, so that was like perfect. DRX427, favorite Nerf subline? Mega, Zombie Strike, Air Tech, etc. And the Messenger, what is your favorite Nerf line? i.e. Modulus and N-Strike, etc. And what's your favorite blasters from each of said lines? From modern stuff, I would say, as much as I hate it, Zombie Strike is pretty awesome. It's good, dumb, random fun. Like, some of the blasters are okay, and I'd say my favorite from that line is the Sledge Fire. With, the hammer shot is useful, but I like the Sledge Fire. But otherwise, like, you look at the Zombie Strike line and you think, wow, that's just so stupid. Even if it's like bad stupid, you're like, I like that they thought of that. Thank you. It's different, and different is good. But I also like, if I had to say like favorite Nerf line, some of the vintage stuff is pretty awesome. Like the Max Force line and the Cyber Strike line. The Cyber Strike line is pretty cool. I love blasters from that line, if they still work. Ryan Lobert. Hello, Mr. Beret. Mr. Beret. What do you think of Nerf guns that are made to look like real steel firearms? Terran Kits, some paint/integration guide on YouTube. Have a wonderful day, Ryan. Good question. So obviously this is an important thing to remind ourselves of these days. I don't see any problem with people who do it. You just have to understand where you live and what the local laws are, because in some cases, bringing just a standard, pistol, like a strong arm outside, people will freak out. And in other places, you could bring out a fully decked out, 3D printed kit on your Strife that looks all painted black, and some people won't blink an eye. And obviously, I don't agree with people usually bringing out stuff that looks, complete, like all black blasters in a public setting, because that's kind of against the law, I want to say. It needs to have an orange tip for safety. But if you're just building it as a prop and you keep it inside and you don't do anything stupid with it, I can't see a problem with people who like to do that, because it is cool. If you make a replica, because that's what you enjoy, that's great. I like playing with things, and I wouldn't play with that stuff necessarily, but I'm not going to ding people who want to be creative on that side and know that within the law, what they're doing is safe. Just stay safe. Deadpool Model T800. I'll try to be specific. What were you doing on August 17th, 2013 at 5:36 p.m.? Okay, that is very specific, and believe it if you will, on August 17th, 2013, at around dinner time, I was eating dinner. I was on top of a 9-foot ladder at a Girl Scout camp in Pescadero, California. So, there's your answer. Joshua1243. Hi, I have a question. Are you still friends with Wacom S7? Yes. We haven't made any videos together recently, and he does live an hour and a half away, but I am still friends with Wacom. I believe he's doing well. He's always modding stuff, and I am not. Master Chief 11. Question, what are your thoughts on drum mags? Also, can I get a shout out? No. Drum mags, I think if you're going from game perspective, it's nice to be able to start with a drum mag, because you can just drop it out of your blaster and then switch to whatever's on you if you're carrying extra stuff. But they're so bulky to have to carry around all the time. So I think they're cool, but from a practicality standpoint, if you're not just using it as a starting like magazine, then it's hard to justify them. And also, a lot of them, since they are getting older, having to replace the spring in those can be annoying. But if you like the higher capacity, that's fine too. Homely665. 1. How did you originally get into the Nerf hobby? And 2. What is your favorite aspect of the hobby as a whole? How I originally got into the Nerf hobby, I saw commercials. I saw them at Target, and then I finally convinced my parents to get me one. And then the first event I actually ever went to was a small surprise birthday party for a friend, and we had a little game in our local park, which was, silly, and I dual-wielded Mavericks, and it didn't matter at all. My favorite aspect these days is just how easy it is to connect with people, because say back then, it was hard when you were just getting into the internet and you were younger. But nowadays you can find like all the information you need, and you can find all the fellow enthusiasts you need online, which is pretty convenient. So you can say like, hey, I like your stuff, or hey, I like your videos, or that's a cool part. Can you tell me more? And it's super easy to do that. Moneyman27. Are you going to get an AccuTrooper, and if so, anytime soon? Probably not, because I have an orange Elite Alpha Trooper, so I'm probably good there, and I leave it stock just in case I need it for like stock HVZ games, or stock games. Captain Ecclesias. Can you take a look at the JSPB 3D blasters? I have looked at them. I've looked at them online. But I'm not super interested in that stuff right now because I did invest in other 3D printed blasters. I think they're cool, and using air power is very different compared to a lot of the other 3D printed blasters that people make. But I have no interest/need in them these days. RZ Writer. When I finish Skilla, would you be interested in a free review model? I don't know what that is. Maybe? Having to do reviews is always fun for me. I'm not that great at reviews, in my opinion. The Phantom Dragon. What Nerf blaster is so bad that you would rather use your hands? I mean, a lot of things. But there are, at some point, as long as it can shoot like 15 feet and somewhat straight, that's better than using your hands. Otherwise, you're just playing HVZ because you're having to tag people. But if it's so bad that it just goes off course immediately, or maybe you just have no ammo for it, I guess that's one thing. Like even Koosh Vortex rings, they shoot. You may have to like get creative with how you shoot them. Vortex discs, for some people, you'd rather use your hands, but they're unique. They can veer off differently. I would rather use my hands than use. Hey, say you're using like a Caliburn with elite darts. I might rather use my hands because I don't know if I can tag someone with that. Not feedy, not lazy. Relaying a question from Leo Chan, my 8-year-old daughter, that submitted a gun sword for the janky mods, who asks, what's the most ridiculous mod you know? Not most janky, not most overpowered, not most silly, most ridiculous. That was very specific. And I would say to that, the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen is someone taking an Ultimator and singling it and just seeing how ridiculously long it is and dumb. It's probably Jose's Godslayer, or Luchathor 13's. I think it's called the Godslayer, his Ultimator mod. And it's not something he uses at regular games, it's just something he has. And he singled an Ultimator for, which is already perfect. So that's ridiculous. New O Nair B. What is the most outrageous non-Nerf product that you have used in a Nerf war? What got the best reactions from strangers? Non-Nerf thing? Gosh, there's a lot. The Nerf grenades, the T238 LDTs are pretty funny. I've gotten some reactions from that. Saxman gets good reactions as well. People who don't know who the Saxman is, that's pretty funny. Just the whole costume, And then outrageous non-Nerf product? We have an inflatable rocket that Buddy brings to our games. I like that. That's pretty fun. The Switchblade Boomerang, that's also good. Camerick, what are your preferred full-length darts for wars? I like AccuFakes, not to be boring, but AccuFakes are good. I also like Suction Elite style darts. So they used to be sold. I don't know if they're sold anymore, but I have some knockoff versions that are different colors, and I think they're great. I don't know if they're as accurate, but I like them. Mephiston. Would you ever consider doing more of your own modding videos where you actually make or prepare the sort of stuff you come up with to run in wars? I should do any mod videos at this point. If you mean actually making videos where I think of what to put in my surveys, that's something I probably just keep to myself, because otherwise it's going to be ideas thrown in that are outside of my control, where like, oh, use only vintage blasters, and then it's like, oh, I have none of those, and then I don't know if people around me have some to borrow. That's why I usually kind of take helm on creating the ideas. I can be sort of original and have some of those blasters too. Lightning Eagle 14, a lot of questions. What are the 3 best Nerf related stories you know? Could be a tag, something that happened at an event, a crazy mod, or something that someone in the community did for someone else. Well, you asked too many questions, therefore I'm only going to give you one story. My experience that always sticks out is my double Sledgefire tag. I was playing a just elimination game with some friends up in Bellingham, and it was there were 2 of us left on each team. I had a Sledgefire, and I'd already burned through, I think, 7 shells and only had 2 left, and I missed, and so suddenly it was 1 shot left for 2 people. My teammate gets tagged, and the final play of the game is me tagging 2 people out with 1 Sledgefire shell to win the game, and that was pretty fun. And then people were like, oh, Brett's good with a Sledgefire. So it cemented my power with a Sledgefire. What do you think your primary blaster will be for End War 2019? Probably my FDL3. Might as well use it there if it's not pouring. Otherwise, I will think on the way. It's probably going to be something practical this year, though. I want to help out. Do you have or have you had any pets? Not currently, but I have had cats, hamsters, rats, and a rabbit. Ribbit. Favorite animal larger than a cow? Favorite animal smaller than a cow? Favorite animal smaller than a cow? A squirrel. Larger than a cow? How about Australia's largest cow? Because that's bigger than a cow. How many Sledgefire shells do you have? Very appropriate. 35 or 36, and those are genuine shells, not 3D printed ones. And finally, what do you wish someone would send you as fan mail? Dollar bills. Send me money. If I was to actually have people send me things, it's hard because you always want stuff. And you're like, oh, that'd be cool to have. And then you get it and you're like, oh, maybe this isn't actually what I want. Or not something that I need. It's just something that I was kind of interested in. And I feel kind of meh about having people then send me stuff which I may not even use. So if anything, if I ever opened up anything like that, I would say just letters would be really cool to hear from people, stories, experiences. If they like what I do, that'd be kind of cool. That's what I'd prefer to receive, if anything. Burton Ma 07. 1. Why do you wear a beret? Just for fashion? A persona? And 2. What is your favorite not recorded piece of gameplay / tag that you have ever experienced? The unrecorded gameplay thing that comes to mind is probably that Sledgefire story I just shared. The beret is for fashion. It's a consistent costume that makes me easy to identify at games or in videos, I suppose. And then when I'm not wearing it, it's not Nerf usually, so keeps it organized. Caleb does stuff. What are your thoughts about Nerf Nitro? Vroom vroom. Nerf Nitro is so weird. Maybe like from a real perspective, because the joke side would be, oh, Nerf Nitro is the best thing ever. But Nerf Nitro might be Hasbro's counter to Hot Wheels. Maybe. I honestly don't know. I'd be curious to see the sales comparison. But I'm also not the right demographic, I suppose, except for the time that I do buy it. It's for younger kids, right? And I don't have a kid, and I'm not young enough, so I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me right now, but maybe it makes sense to other people. Beat 'em all. Given the chance to choose one blaster for Nerf to remake, what would it be and why? And Windlepoons 101. Seeing the return of the Demolisher, Long Strike, etc., what discontinued Nerf blaster would you like to see return and why? Windle. I would love to see the Deploy make a return with a new paint job maybe, or better internals. That would be cool. But also 1995 crossbow. We like the shell. Maybe make the handle a little bit bigger to modernize it a bit. Maybe modernize it a bit in other ways too, but a new crossbow would be cool. I don't know what it would shoot. Maybe be magazine fed. Maybe it would be different colors, but I think that would be pretty sweet. TNT Thomas, who is your favorite Star Wars character? I'll be unoriginal and say Boba Fett. I was a big fan of him when I was younger and first saw it, so Boba Fett, as I drink out of a Stormtrooper mug. Peace. Dude, where do you find your Nerf battles? I really want to go to a Nerf war. I find them on the internet. I help organize them on the internet too. Facebook groups, meetups. There are a lot of forums these days you can find stuff. I think Reddit has a map somewhere. Might be remembering that wrong. RGB Gamer. My question is, where in the country has the least Nerf clubs, like the Southeast or the Midwest or the Northeast? Maybe that map will help? I have no idea though. It seems like there's always something within driving distance, but I also live in an area where I know where the games are. And then if you go maybe more towards the east or west, there aren't. I honestly don't know. I don't keep track of every club. Sorry. Dustin Greathouse. What is your favorite of each type of attachment? Scopes, grips, stocks, and barrels. I'm going to mix third and first party because I do like the Worker Lightning Storm stock. That was one of my first purchases from a third party company. I've always loved that thing. Don't really have a favorite grip. Nerf grips are meh. I guess the Worker grip is fine, but I don't really use too many of them. Scopes, kind of a scope. The pinpoint sight, I think from Nerf, is actually kind of cool. I don't use scopes realistically in Nerf, so that is fine for me. And I like the Spectre barrel. Honestly, as a barrel attachment, I think that one's pretty cool. And because it's a big enough inner diameter, it usually doesn't affect performance. House Dogman 365. Do you enjoy cake? And if so, what's your favorite kind? I like cake. Of course I like cake. I like chocolate things, so chocolate cake. I like Boston cream pie, German chocolate cake, coconut, all the things. Alpha. If you had an unlimited budget, what Nerf blaster would you buy or make? Usually the budget isn't a problem if I have a mod idea, because I don't have any crazy builds or mods in the works. Whoops. But if I did have like space for it, it would be, and I guess unlimited budget would be nice for this too. I've always wanted a battle racer, and then to mount some blasters on it like a Rhino Fire. That'd be pretty fun. Builder BB. Now that you have an FTL3, do you use any other blasters in wars outside of I'd Rather Not in a War footage or special type rounds? Usually. It's a fair point though. I've barely gotten to use my FTL3, honestly. Also since it's the end of the year. But, I mean, for special rounds and I'd Rather Not in a War, those take precedent, sure. But sometimes I'll just have like a jolt in my pocket and the round's about to start and I'm like, oh, we'll do a jolt. Or just be like, it's a pistol and it's not really practical to be using a pistol in like a high cap crazy round, but I'm going to use a single shot because it's more fun. So I just don't record all the footage. So I guess trust me on that one then. Pirat. What is a blaster you really want but you know you'll never use? Probably the Prometheus, because I never bought a wow, it just spaced again. I never bought a Nemesis since I knew I would never use it. I don't do high cap rival, and I don't really invest in that much rival rounds, so the Prometheus just didn't make sense for me, and it's big and clunky, so I don't have like as much space for that. But it's cool. Not this bad. I just don't need it. Tanner's Triple Threat. What third-party blasters do you want and currently have? Don't need them. Want is one thing. It'd be fun to do a worker prophecy. I've never done one of those before. MHP 15 and the Pigeon from Mr. Heathpants. Those are both cool in the right settings, but don't need those. And then the Foxfire is actually pretty cool. I'd be interested in that. I actually like the shell from that one. And what I do have is I have a Caliburn. I will have a Rival Burn. I have an FDL3. I have a Jupiter, still needing to be built. I have a Worker Dominator. I had a Worker Swordfish. And I have a homemade blaster, an old school LPL. Travis Shee. What color scheme do you wish Hasbro would use? Either old schemes or completely new ones. Retro all the way. Old, let's bring back some pink, baby blue, yellow, and purple. Those would be awesome. I'd love to see some flashy paint jobs like that. This would be fantastic. Like the old school stickers. OB, why a black beret? Why not red? I have both. I don't know. I have both. I have a lot more. Jace and Marco, what's your favorite janky mod you've made or seen? Made or seen? I've seen many janky mods now thanks to those submissions, so I can't even remember what my favorite would be there. The one that I've made that seems janky, maybe the Deploy Blazooka, shoving an XBZ inside of that. It's janky, it works, but it's not pretty if you get up close to it. I have some old school stuff too that is pretty bad. Joshua Robbles, do you have any other personas such as Saxman that you do while nerfing? Also, I love your channel. I can't wait to see other WikiHows and I'd Run That War videos. Well, thank you. They are out there. Games versus videos, maybe more show up just in casual videos versus gameplay. You know, Pirate is one of them. There's also like the Nerf Medic. But those, I'm not really sure if you count those for gameplay nerfing, but they're out there. You'll see. Anon Emus. What mods are done to your Fearless Fire? This was mostly done by a friend, so I can't say for certain, and I need to open it up and not be lazy. But I believe there are 180s in there, and then it is rewired with thicker gauge wire. I know it's not original wire. Takes a 2S LiPo. It has lots of shell removal as well, and that's about all I can think of right now. Boff Tack. Any plans to get some cap badges for those berets? They look pretty empty without. Oh yeah, I guess people do wear patches on their berets. I guess I could do that. I do have patches that would fit. I just have never done that. I'll do that eventually. Smirky Rain 08 Corbin. Do you have an online source for rev switches? Yes, I think a lot of people do, but I don't have like a store for them. Foam Blast, Out of Darts, the Containment Crew. I think a lot of people do. Lion Roar 25. End War or Ragnarok? Oh, they're so different. Like Ragnarok is in like my hometown pretty much, and it's smaller scale, which means it's like a little more familiar for the people who are there then. And what we did over Ragnarok was so different than End War, because End War was like almost a whole weekend of HVZ, and FoamCon was massive, and it was organized that way and was planned, very differently, whereas Ragnarok was not. And the facilities are different, locations are different, the games are different. So I like both of them in different ways, and End War, going to End War was eye-opening. It was an amazing experience, whereas Ragnarok felt a little more homey. It was both still fun, but they were fun in different ways. So I'm not going to give you an actual answer on that because it's not fair. They're both great in different ways. Robbie Jarrett, what kinds of mods have you done? I've done the mods. I've done mods, like simple things, spring upgrades, AR removals. I've put pennies behind a spring for a Maverick, minor janky integrations. I've done things. Jacob B, do you prefer HVZ or normal wars? Also from Jacob, do you have siblings? I guess I prefer regular wars just because that's what I grew up with and I'm most familiar with, but I love jumping at HVZ opportunities since I haven't had those. And they are very different. And I do have a sister. No, she does not Nerf. Jarrett Turner. Where do your wars take place, and are they public or invite only? Wars with Captain Xavier, Walcom, and Saxman, and all them. Saxman. They are public. They are in Fort Borst Park in Washington. Daniel Basil. Which video was more fun to film, the Valentine's special or I'd Run That in a War 5? Making the Valentine's Day episode was interesting because I was not sure how that was going to go over, and I'm glad people actually enjoyed it. But I think I'd Run That in a War 5. That was the Dancing with the Sentinel one. That was pretty great. That because that was actually, listening to music and playing at the same time. So never done that before. That might be my favorite. Bandito777. When did you start nerfing? 2007. Phantom Lightning. About 500 more subs to 11K. Yay. What is a mod of yours that you are most proud of, or performance and other? I'll take a step back and say I was pretty proud of my long shot and hyperfire integration way back when. The old hyperfire. So that would be like, keyring attached to the trigger, or keyring attached to the hyperfire trigger, which then went back to where your trigger finger was for the long shot. I was happy when that came out. Proud of myself. Yes, I'm a corgi. How about the Jolt tank? The one that Walcom reviewed? I would say it's pretty cool, and I would love to get one. Saint Old Coots MC. Do you have a favorite game type? I like all games. I guess I like the fast-paced ones too, just because instant respawns are great when you're running the whole time. So things like Control Points, or Flux as it's often called, is pretty great because it's a quick game, but then you just keep running pretty much. 5v5s are fun in their own right too, competitive stuff. And then Titan Ball is also quite amusing for its uniqueness, and all your skill goes away when you're shooting Titan rockets. Carl Vogelheim. Sorry. What is your favorite non-popular blaster? Examples: Spectre Rev 5, Deploy, Vortex Line, Rival Atlas. To like something in spite of people hating it, I guess, is one thing. Those are good examples, though. I do like Mavericks. I mean, like the Gen 1 Mavericks didn't have air restrictors so much, so those are great. And in general, Mavericks are fine. I like the Deploy, too. Delta Dog Nerf. Turbo Advance or Magnum Super Drum. As someone who only owns a Magnum Super Drum, this is kind of biased, but I do like the Super Drum. I think it's easier to reload that thing than having to also switch between inside or outside cylinder. And even though it's not pump grip to fire, the Super Drum is pretty great all around. It's pretty reliable as well. I love my Super Drum. Mr. Bob, how tall are you? 6'5", though sometimes I get that backwards. It might be 5'6". I'm not that tall. iBot, do you have a girlfriend, Beret? Yes, and no, she does not Nerf. The Hypermodder, who is your best friend and why? I hope this isn't too personal. It changes over time. We always have that like childhood best friend, but then over the years you're like, well, I don't have like one best friend. It's kind of hard. And oftentimes it might end up being your significant other that is your best friend because you come to know each other super well. So that honestly might be what I say in this case. Josiah Hall, Captain Slug's Esper? ? Yes, it does exist. It's cool. I would love to try one out. I need half-dart mags now. It's cool that he's doing something like string-powered or rubber band-powered. The Mind Robber 42. I hate that this is even a question, but globe Earth or flat Earth? Sarcastic or real? Flat earthers are amazing. You can find them all across the globe. Lorik Dax, will the Saxman make a comeback? Yes. I am trying to find the best way to tell a story that I want to tell that I haven't been able to. Part of that will involve showing some End War footage because I've just never shown it. Not that it's like super special or like secret. I just never have shown it, but I wanted it to play into something else. So if you enjoy that kind of stuff, I think you'll enjoy this. Trapped in the Matrix. How many sandwiches can you store in your beret? 1. unless it's like a baguette, half. And cape, I'll attack. What is under your beret? Apparently a sandwich, because that's what people store. And that's all the questions we have for today. Thank you everyone for asking your questions. I usually try to do live streams and answer more stuff in the moment, but that hadn't been working too much recently, so I said, well, we'll just do a video instead. And you have the most amazing questions. Anyhow, thank you everyone for watching. Happy holidays, and I will see you later.